F6, not all of them. Only this one and this one. It's very important. Read the question, exactly what. I forgot to say, write your name. Hopefully, you guys have all your name written down. But the first thing you do, don't forget to read the question. Because I saw a lot of people, they wrote everything, all the joints. That takes a long time. How many joints do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They join 2 equations and 10 equations. This is simpler than that. If you want to find F2, F6, there are easier way to do it. So let's talk about F2. How can I find F2? It's a zero force member. You see that? Look at this joint. Only 2 members connected to it, no external force. So both of them are 0. The first category of zero force members. 2 members and the 3 members. This is just 2 members category. Both of them are 0. You can do that, or you can say, well, I don't remember the classification we made, so I start from scratch. I take joint C and write joint equation. So at C, you're going to have F1 and F2, right? And this angle is theta. Theta. This is FED. So you pick joint C, FED, equations, 2 equations, summation of force in F in X0. That's going to give you negative F1 cosine theta, negative F2, 0. Summation of force in Y direction, 0. That's going to give you negative F1 sine theta is equal to 0. As you can see, the second equation tells me F1 must be 0. Why? Because sine theta is not 0. So something times non-zero value is 0. That value must be 0. So if you put 0 here, this is 0, right? This is equal to 0. Put 0 here, then F2 is equal to 0. So the answer to this question, part 1, I write it here is 0. You can just say by inspection or joint C. Either way is correct, I accept it. Now we want to find F6. Well, I didn't ask you what's the fastest method to find F6. So you can do whatever you like, right? You can choose this joint, and then this joint, and find F6. So let's first do method of joint. So I know that these two are 0, right? So if I take D, joint D, I went here, joint D, and draw the FD, then I get 3K, F4, F3. That's all. Right? So the equations here, joint D, F4 negative 0, summation of force in the X0. Because we only have F4. And then negative 3K, negative F3 is equal to 0. That means that F3 is equal to negative 3K. So if you, what I use personally, I use check mark concept. So I say I found F1, F2, these are zero force member. You can just clean this part of the structure because this is zero force member. Then here I found F3 and F4. F4 is also 0. So you check mark it. Now, can I go to joint B? How many unknowns do I have at joint B? And those are, the unknowns at joint B are 5 and 6. Can I solve it? Yes, 2 equations, 2 unknown. So I simply take joint B. So joint B, FPD is like that. So you're gonna get the reaction of this thing, F3, up. This is FPD for joint B. This is 0, F3, F5, and F6. And this angle, let's say, is also theta. So this angle is theta. Okay? That's my FVD. Now the equations. Joint B. The equations are summation of force in the x direction, which is negative F5 cosine theta, negative F6 is equal to 0. Summation of force in the y direction, 0. F3 plus F5 sine theta should be 0. Well, you know that we have F3, right? So let's do the check mark here. You have this guy here. But I don't have this guy, and I don't have this guy, and I don't have this guy. So which one should I, what equation should I use to solve it? This one, the bottom, right? So here you get F5 from the bottom. F5 would be negative F3 divided by sine theta equal to F3 itself is negative 3k. Negative 3k is positive 3k over sine theta. So this is F5. But the question is asking for F6. So in fact, you just put the solution here, because you got F5 now, right? You just get F6 from here. So from this equation, you get F6 is equal to negative cosine theta times F5 is equal to F5 was 3k over sine theta. So you get negative cosine theta times 3k over sine theta, which is equal to, you can take this cosine, the bottom of sine, and get tangent. So you get negative 3k over tangent theta. Now, in this triangle, look at this triangle. Shaded triangle here. What's the value of tangent theta?
36.1.
Tangent theta is this side, 1.5 over this side in this triangle, which is 2. Now, you can simplify this further. Instead of tangent theta, if you get this in the exam or test or the quiz, that's just fine, I accept it. But now you can just simplify it. Tangent theta is 1.5 over 2, so this becomes negative 3k, 1.5 over 2 becomes negative 6k over 1.5 becomes negative 4. So the answer to the second part is negative 4k. Now when we did system, FVD, equation, solve everything, what's the last step? Verification. Well, I know that, according to my intuition, I can guess well these are 0, but there is no loading on it. So this solution is probably acceptable. It's not terribly wrong, according to my intuition, right? Now the second one, F6, how do you verify that? Force here. Well, if you have loading here, it's going to nose down, then you have some kind of compression here. You see that? So this should be compression or negative. And what I got is a negative. So my answer is not terribly wrong. I don't know what the exact answer is because I don't have a solution manual. always at work. You never have solution manual at work, at the actual problem. But you have some sort of intuition that you should use to verify, to spot the terribly wrong parts, right? So now, this was a method to solve this problem, method of join. Now it started from here and then went like this way. Now, if I ask you, what's the fastest method to find F6? Now, if I give this problem to you, now I define a new problem. What's the fastest method to find F6? Let's start from scratch. Like you don't have F, you don't have all these things. Let's start from scratch. Start from scratch. You know that the value is bigger than 4K. So I'll keep that. And now the question is, what is the fastest method to find F6?
You could just do the whole body to find, and like do the movement around E to find AX. And it's just AX is equals to
Yeah. You actually kind of combine the entire this system. You get external reaction that joined at A, right? That's one way. But this is like two step. You see, it's still not one step, one line. You're getting very close. Well, it's not one line. So if the question is what is the fastest way to do that, the answer is wrong. This answer, although this works and you get negative 4K, but this answer is wrong because it still is 2. You do one system like that, you get external reaction, and then you do like one joint here, summation of force in x0, so you get this is equal to reaction here. Well, this works, but it's not the fastest because it's 2 steps. What else? Think about method of section. If I want to use method of section, what part of the structure should I cut in section?
I mean, you can already get rid of 4, 2, 1, and 7.
Yeah, but the thing is, let's say, how do you get rid of those? By writing joint here, as you did. 0 force member. Either saying 0 force member or writing joint. Let's say we don't even need to think about that too. Let's say we don't want to do that. We don't want to clean up the structure because that's one extra step. Clean up the structure and then do that. In fact, if you have a small load here, that's not going to even work. So what's the fastest way? Well, if I section this, think like this. If I section from here, we call it. If I section these 3 members. Now, a section is not enough. You have to say which part are you going to take as system, left or the right. If I section this and take everything to the right as my system. So this is step 1. Choose. Now you see the importance of choosing the system. Step 1. As a designer, you can simplify a lot by choosing an appropriate system. Instead of joints, in the previous example, we chose joints as a system and did FBD equation, solve everything, right? Now I choose this part of the structure as a system. Now we'll see how much simplification this brings for us. So if I choose this as a system and I try to draw a step 2, free body diagram. So that's going to be something like here, 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 halfway, we cut it, okay. Then I'll say, okay, in order to draw FED, what do you do to a step? Surface force, body force. Surface force, pick a point here, start walking on this border. So when you walk, the first thing you have 3K. See? 3K. Then continue. You're not cutting anything. You're not cutting anything here. The first thing you cut, F6. Continue walking. The next thing you cut, F5. Continue walking, F4. Then come back to the point, the start point. So you're done with the surface force. What about body force? Let's say these members are just so light. Always this is the case. In truss, there is no body force because the bars are so light, right? So that's my FED. So system FED. In fact, this method of section, because it's sectional structure, but what we are actually doing is justify the same algorithm we had before the midterm, right? Now, I did system FED, now I go to equations, right? Well, because I'm asking for this particular word, fastest way. So I'm not going to write summation of force in x0, summation of force in y0. I know that I have 3 equations for this, but I'm not going to write it. I'm going to write the one that I'm going to choose to solve the equation. So what equation is particularly useful to solve this? That's it. So I just immediately write summation of moment around point B. So in fact, this point right now is outside of your system. You see that? This is probably the first example. You remember I said summation of moment about any point should be 0, and the point may be here, not on your system. Don't expect the point to be somewhere on your system, maybe here. Now this is one of example. This point is not in your system. Your system is right here, a section part of the structure, right? And in fact, you have a member here, right? The system is here, so this point is outside. So let's do that. Let's just start with F4. Moment coming from F4 with respect to point E is what? 0. Let's go to F5. 0. F6. Moment coming from F6 with respect to E. 1.5 times F6, positive or negative? Negative. What else?
Negative 3K.
Negative 3K times 2. Should be equal 0. So F6 is equal to 6K negative over 1.5. Negative 4K. You see that? This is the fastest one. Compare it to the previous solution. Previous solution we had lots of equations. This is the fastest method. One line. Here. In fact, you could not even draw this free body diagram. You could just say, well, I have one unknown here, one unknown here, one unknown here. 3 unknowns, write the moment here, I get rid of 2, only 1 appeared in the equation. And it is 3K. That's it. So here the thing is, I will give question in the exam, or I may ask at some point, you're going to expect to have a question like, what is the fastest method to do that? So it's like a strategy game. Sometimes I may not even ask you to get a number. I'll just say, explain how you do it, right? And then you say, well, I will call it at number 4, 5, 6, and then I write moment about point E, period. And that's the answer to your question. No calculation is needed. Okay? one example of problem with that, on the giving exam, right here. J1, J2, So these are the joints, and then this number of members, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. How? And let's say the length of each bar is unit. L is 1 meter. So each one of these are unit meter length. Right? So this problem is well defined. Now, I give this structure to you, and then I say explain. I don't say compute. So I just say explain A, part A. So fastest method to find part A, F2, part B, F10, part C, let's say this is A and B, order B, roller at B. So reaction in the roller, and then F, C, D, F20. F20. So this one is 20. So how do we answer this? Let's just start with A. Find F2. That means what's the fastest way to find the forcing member number 2?
Method of joints.
Huh?
Method of joints.
Method of joints, and what particular, like J1. Join at J1. Well, you know that this T, tension indicator, will be obtained by first choosing this as your system. So you have gravity 300, 981, and then you get T. Once you get tension, you can just put it on this joint. You have this force, then tension force, you have it. You have one unknown F2, one unknown F1. How many unknowns you have? 2. How many equations? 2. Then you can solve it, right? So, this is to just explain. You can just simply say MOJ, method of join at J1. That's it, that's the answer. Just as short as possible. I know that you can do it. Now we go to F10. Now the question is, I'm not saying find F10. I'm saying what's the fastest method to get F10? That's the reason I said read the question. Well, you know that the slow method always works. The method of join is very robust, always works, but it's slow. Let's say you do method of join from starting from here and marching all the way to find all the unknown. So if I start from here, let's take blue. Then if I start J1 method of join, what do I get? F1 and F2. Let's check mark it. Then what would be my next join to solve? J3? Yeah, because you have 1, 2 unknown, right? You can't solve J2. Why?
Because there's more than 2 unknowns.
1, 2, 3 unknown. You can't solve. You have 2 equations only, right? So you first solve J. So let's try to order here. J1, and then J3, right? If you solve J3, let's check mark it. You get F4 and F3. Now what's the next?
J2.
J2. So you can't go to J5 because you have 1, 2, 3 unknown. You can't do that. So you have to go to first J4, J2. Yeah, you go to J2 to get 1, 2 unknown. Right, this is already known. So then J2, so you get 5 and 6, right? Now, what's my next one? J5. And then when you go J5, you get this and this. And finally you can solve J4, which is my objective because I want to get F2. So I want to get F10, right? So then J4. And if you solve J4, then you get 9 and 10 is the answer. But look, this is not the answer to the question. Because what? Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 joins. Each join has 2 equations. So we have 10 equations to solve before we get the value of 10. And the question is asking what is the fastest method to do that? So what should I do now? This is not the answer. What do you recommend?
Isn't it equal to F2?
No, not necessarily. So what method did I have? Method of sections, method of joins.
Method of sections.
So what part should I section?
Right down the middle of 10.
So tell me the members, the member numbers.
8, 9, and 10.
Yeah, so the answer to that section at 8, 9, 10. So if I section that like this, now that's not enough. The question is, what part are you going to take? Left or right?
Right.
Right. So that's my system. And your FVD is going to be F9, F8, sorry, F9, and F10. And there is a force here, 300 times 981. Right? That's my FVD. Now, well, yes, section at 8, 9, 10. Step 1. Step 2. Moment about
J7.
Perfect. That's it. In fact, I want to give you a quiz bonus. Email me. Okay? Quiz bonus. moment about, so you say section at this, and then moment, summation of moment. You can just simply write summation of moment about J7. So what do I get? Let's write it. Summation of moment about J7. Let's start with F8. 0. Then F9.
0. Negative 1 times 10.
F10, negative 1. And then?
3
times
times
300 times 981 times
3.
3. 1, 2, 3. So then F10, is this negative or positive?
Negative.
Negative is equal to 0. That's simply summation of moment about point J7. Right? So according to this equation, I get F10 is equal to negative 300 981 times 3. This is almost 10, right? 10 times 300, 2,000 times 3, 9K. Almost 9K. Negative 9K, almost. Well, you see, this is one line. In fact, you could just do this in your mind. Don't draw. Don't mess up your sketch, right? Just do it in mind. 1 unknown, 2 unknown. They're going through J7. So I'm gonna get something out of it and something out of it. And one line, and then you get to negative 1K. Now, final step, verification. Do you think that force here, what's the sign of force here? Positive or negative?
Negative.
It should be compression, because when I have force here, this is going to go down a little bit, and then this component like that is going to apply some compression. So I should get negative. So when I get negative, it's not too bizarre. That's what I expect. I should get negative. Otherwise, I'm doing something terrible wrong. Okay, what about F20? What about reaction at roller E?
We do the whole system.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah. Quiz bonus. Would you email me, please? You and you about remind me about this quiz bonus. All right. Now let's go to part B. You see, in the exam, you can answer this without even grabbing your calculator, without doing the computation. That's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is you just write section 8, 9, 10. Because everybody can do it, right? Assuming that everybody can do it. Now, answer for this, you just write, take the whole thing as system, moment what? A. It's just one line you explain it. You don't need to do computation. Now, explain the last one, D. How can I, what's the fastest method to get F20, force here? The fastest method to get force in this member. Quiz bonus.
Can you do it the same way you did F10, except for take the backside, section it off?
Can you show it?
Sure. I don't have the time, but.
There you go. You mean section at there? There you go. Yeah.
Take the backside of this.
Yeah. But look.
And then. So we're gonna take 20, 21, and 20, 21, and 22, right?
Well,
No?
I accept the answer.
Okay.
Everything quick one. What happens here, you have to do two lines, it's not one line. Because what happens when you do this section, here you have one unknown here, right? One here and one here. You see? 3. And also two reactions, AX, AY. That's okay. You have 5 unknowns. But look, if first, let's say, write a moment about first, let's get AY. How can I get AY? It's like 2, as I say, it's not 1 line, it's 2 steps. First, choose the entire thing as system and write moment about B. Right? AX is going through B. So you get something AY, moment come from B itself is 0, and then moment come from 300. So you get AY. Right? Step 2, so 2 steps. Step 2. Moment about J10. You see that? This goes 0, 0, and then F20, this is 0, and then AY times 2. So if you have AY, just put in a step 2, get F20. Now I can see that you know that. So that's it. I may give question like this, explain. You know, you don't need to do complicated, just explain how you, it's like a strategy. It's a strategy game. Which one is the faster? Because if you can answer that, that means that you know all different methods. Okay? All right.